Hello everyone, welcome back and thank you for watching. In today's video, I will be sharing with you my 20 best DIYs of 2020. I will be using 3 things from Dollar Tree. This 8x10 canvas, this wire basket, and some zip ties. Dollar General right now is carrying these wooden stakes. These are from the brand True Living and they are 3 feet long. I will be using 5-gallon paint stir sticks and I'm only using 1.5. I got these from Lowe's, but Walmart, Home Depot carry them as well. The only paints I will be using are the Waverly chalk paint in white and the antique wax. I'm going to start by cutting the picket part off of the stake, and I'm using my saw to cut them. I am going to remove the canvas part and I'm removing the staples with a knife. As you can see, the wood's square and it's actually not that small, so that's why I'm using it. So I'm going to cut the canvas with my saw, and each piece that I will be cutting, it is 7 inches and 3/4, I think. I will be doing a total of 4 pieces out of this frame. I am only using 2 paint stir sticks because I can get 3 pieces of 7 inches and 3/4 out of 2 of them. Once I have everything cut, I'm going to start putting it together. So I wanted to arrange them first before I started to glue anything. And the original ladder, it only has 3 steps and I decided to add 4 instead. So I have 2 different kinds of wood glues and I decided to use the Elmer's glue. I am also using the pieces I cut off from the paint stir sticks. I have 4 here because I had an extra one, but you can make some out of the leftover paint stir sticks. I'm going to start by gluing the 3 pieces first. I'm gluing them side by side. Now I am gluing the other 4 pieces, and in the middle I'm adding the wood glue, and on the sides I will be adding the hot glue just so it can stay. And I am making sure I am gluing them all the way to the end, so like that when I glue them to the stake. Here I'm showing you that by adding the other piece all the way to the side is wider to glue it to the stake. I am adding wood glue to the top part, and to the bottom part, or to the bottom pieces, I will be adding the hot glue. So I can work with it without having to wait overnight. I let it sit there for about 20 minutes and then I flipped it over and I added some more hot glue to the back. I am using a pencil and a ruler to mark where I want the steps to go, and my first step is going to be around 4 inches. And I use a little bit of wood glue and hot glue to stick them together. So because I wanted to finish everything in one day, I ended up adding some of these to the first step and the 4th step. And that is it. But before I stain my ladder, I'm going to sand it. And here I'm showing you where I added them screws. Like I said, I added it in the first and the last step. I'm going to stain it using the antique wax. And this is how it looks with 1 layer of antique wax. Now for the basket, you can leave it gold as it is, but I decided to paint mine white so it can match the letters. I am painting my zip ties white also. I will be transferring the word, and I use the Pic Collage app, and the font name is King Basil. To transfer the word, I'm going to scribble the back with a pencil and then flip it over and start tracing it. Once I am done, I'm going to go over it with my Waverly chalk paint in white. And this is how it looks. Now I'm going to add the basket. And this is how it looks once I am done adding the zip ties. I am then going to cut the rest off. And this is how my bathroom ladder turned out. This collab is hosted by DIY Beauty on Purpose and Haiti Sambol DIY. I am so happy to be joining more crafters, so I will have a link to the playlist down in the description box for more awesome DIY videos. These are some of the materials I am going to use. I got all of these from Dollar Tree. 2 love signs, DIY heart stickers, metal decor words, and a truck. I am going to upcycle this wood truck I used during Christmas. I couldn't find the ones Dollar Tree carries right now. I ended up using burlap ribbon and wood letters as well. And the paint is from Walmart. I am going to start off by removing the hearts with this knife. I am also going to remove the tags, and I'm going to save this red ribbon because I'm going to use it at the end. With a sandpaper sheet I got from Dollar Tree, I am going to sand where I removed the hearts. Then with my acrylic paint in white, I am going to paint the 2 signs, and I ended up giving it 2 coats just because of the red letters. If you have the Waverly chalk paint, you should definitely use that one instead. I just didn't have any, but I feel like that's like a better option because it is thicker. This is how it looks with 1 coat, and this is how it looks with 3 coats. I had said 2 earlier, but no, I ended up giving it 3. And then with a smaller paintbrush and the burnt umber, I am going to go over the lines. I usually use the back of the signs, but this time I ended up using the front just because this sign has dents and it makes it look more like real wood. This next step, you can do it after you glue the 2 signs together, but I just did it before. All I did is I put the 2 signs together and paint the line where the 2 signs meet. Before the paint dries, with a stipple paintbrush, this is actually a makeup brush, it's from the brand e.l.f. This is an old brush. Instead of throwing it away, I decided to use it to paint. And all I'm doing is I'm going over the lines and distressing the rest of my sign using the same brown burnt umber. I am distressing all the edges as well. You can leave it like that, but I ended up going over some of the brown with a different paintbrush and a white paint. I also went over the lines with white. I felt like the brown was too dark and I added way too much brown. And all I'm doing is just making them lighter. Once the paint was dry, I tried to sand my sign, and to be honest, this step is optional because I did not see a difference. I then flipped both of my signs, and to glue them together, I am using some jumbo popsicle sticks. For the truck, I am going to use this Christmas truck that I got during Christmas, and I couldn't find any of the ones Dollar Tree is carrying right now for Valentine's. So I decided to repurpose or upcycling or whatever you want to call it. But all I did is I removed the tree and the back of the truck and I painted it Tuscan red. This was actually a darker red, but I wanted it to be more like a Valentine's red. And then I am going to distress it with a pink. Using the wood letters from Dollar Tree, I'm going to paint loads off with this Tuscan red. And I am going to use the word love from this metal decor pack. Now I am going to glue all the things to my sign. I am going to start with a truck first. Since my truck is from a previous DIY, I had used wood blocks and I couldn't take them off. So I am going to use another piece of wood to make my truck even when I glue it. But before I glue all the words down, I am going to arrange them and see how I want them to go. I am going to use the galvanized hearts I took off at the beginning, and I'm going to use one and glue it to the truck, and then I am going to glue a pink, then a red with an arrow. I then started to glue the hearts. I am using the DIY hearts as well as the other galvanized heart. I had to paint some of the hearts red because they were the wood color, and I used the same Tuscan red. Now I am going to glue the rest of the words. Once everything was glued, I added a piece of burlap ribbon at the bottom of my sign. And I only glued it at the back. Then with a piece of juice string, I tied it in the middle. I then made a bow with the same burlap ribbon, and I used the red ribbon I took off at the beginning of my video to tie the bow, and then I glued it to the top. You can also add some of the juice string through the little holes it has at the top, so if you want to hang it. And for this, I used 2 packs of the 5-gallon paint sticks. These packs I got them from Lowe's, and 3 come in a pack and $1 for each pack. I'm only using 4 of the paint sticks, and I'm going to start by removing the handle part off. Next, I'm going to cut 2 of them in half, and each side is around 8 inches and a half. Now that I have all my parts, I'm going to start gluing them, and I'm going to use some wood glue to make this sturdy. You can use the other 2 leftover paint sticks to make this a way larger ladder, but I decided not to, so I'm only using these. I laid down both of the big sticks first, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of the wood glue and glue the smaller stick, 1 on each side. Then I'm going to glue the steps, and I'm gluing one of them where the other 2 meet just to cover that up, and then I'm going to make a space, I think it's like around 7 or 8 inches in between them, and then I'm going to add the other. I added way too much glue, so I'm going to use a damp napkin and remove some of it. To paint my ladder, I'm going to use the Waverly chalk paint in Antique Wax. I love the color of this. And I know you're supposed to go over it after paint, but I just love it. I love the color it gives on top of the plain wood. The next thing I will be doing is I'm going to grab a damp paper and remove some of the paint. You can see more of the wood details, and I love it. So thank you so much to Michelle, which I seen her do this on one of her recent videos. The next thing I will be showing you is how to make these beautiful planters. From Dollar Tree, I'm going to use 1 of these baskets, 3 come in a pack. I'm also using some nautical rope and a placemat. The placemat is from Dollar General. I have been using it in some of my previous DIYs as a bag, and because it's hard and it's like, I don't know, I like that material this placemat it's made of. So the first thing I'm going to do to the basket is remove the little metal handle part, and then I'm going to grab a box cutter and cut this in half. It's not that hard, it's just it gave me a little bit trouble where it's thicker. Once my basket is cut in half, I'm going to lay it on top of the placemat and then trace it. I did do this twice since I am making 2 baskets out of the 1 basket. I'm going to paint my placemats using the Waverly chalk paint in Elephant. I did add a lot of the elephant color to the mats, so I had some extra paint on the paintbrush and I'm going to use that to paint the baskets. I am going to try to make these baskets more galvanized or make them look more farmhouse style. And to do that, I'm going to go over them first with that gray color, and then I'm going to distress them a little bit more with a Waverly chalk paint in steel. And then I'm going to repeat the same process. Once it's dry, I'm going to go back with the elephant and then the steel until I like how it looks.
You ain't got enough of this fever, I know, I know. Nothing would remain and you don't wanna go, so go. 'Cause you're digging your place, no time to.
Once it's dry, I'm going to take this nautical rope and pull it apart so it gives me 3 of the smaller ones, and then I'm going to grab it and start weaving it through the holes that this basket has. You can use the nautical rope and you don't have to pull it apart. It will fit through them little holes. The reason I decided to do this is because I didn't have a lot, so it was going to take a lot of the nautical rope to do the whole basket, so that's why I decided to do it like this instead. With the same placemat, I cut 2 little squares to add to the bottom of the basket just because it has some holes, and when I add the greenery, I don't want the stems to go through them. The next thing I will be doing is I'm going to add the back piece to it, and I'm only using hot glue since I am not using heavy greenery or anything heavy inside these little baskets. I recommend you, if you are, to use some stronger glue to glue these together. And that is it for this DIY. The last thing I will be doing is adding some juice string for the hangers. And what I love about this ladder is that you can decorate it so many different ways. You don't have to use these planters or these little baskets. And not only that, you can use this vertical or horizontal. I did not glue anything, everything's tied up. For this sign, I will be using one of the wood eggs from Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint it white using my apple barrel acrylic paint. To make the egg more farmhouse style, I'm going to add some wood planks using my ruler and my brown marker. but since the ink in my brown marker isn't dark enough, I'm going over it with burnt umber. I then went around the egg with burnt umber, then I distressed the rest of the egg to make it look more rustic and old. For the word spring, I will be using the wood letters Dollar Tree has, and I'm going to paint them. To make the color teal, I will be using Laguna and Spring Green. To decorate my egg, I will be using this spring floral I got from Walmart. I'm not so sure if they still have these since I got this last year, but Dollar Tree does carry so many different beautiful floral you can use instead. I cut all the stems off and added a fern leaf from a fern bush I got from Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to tie them together. Right now you don't see a white flower, but I ended up adding it at the end. So I'm letting you know I did end up adding a small white flower. I then glued my bouquet to the egg. Before I add the bow, I will be arranging the letters where I want them to go. There is so many different ways you can arrange them. I just chose this one. Now I will be gluing the bow, and then I made a jewstring bow and added it on top of the blue bow. To make this beautiful planter, you're going to need 6 paint sticks. I got these from Lowe's, 10 come in a pack for just $1. And from Dollar Tree, I'm going to use 4 of these wood pallets. And if you want to hang it, you're gonna need some jewstring and a shower curtain ring. I'm going to start off by removing all the stickers from all the wood pallets. This planter is so easy and simple to do, but before I start gluing it, I'm going to just arrange it how I want it to go. Then I'm going to start gluing it using hot glue. You can use wood glue so it can be more sturdy, but since I am not adding anything heavy, I'm only using hot glue. To make the bottom piece for my planter, I'm going to use 6 paint sticks. I'm going to cut them to the size of the planter. Then I'm going to glue them to the crate using hot glue. This time I will not be using my antique wax. I'm going to use this wood stain And I didn't show you the clip because I did go outside and do it, and it was already late at night when I did this. But yeah, all I did was stain it, and this is how it turned out. And that is it for this planter. All I'm doing is adding some boxwood greenery I got from Walmart. I absolutely love how this turned out, so you can use it like this. And if you want to hang it, all you need is some juice string and a shower ring. I'm going to For this DIY, I will be using juice string, 2 moss sheets, and the Easter sign. All of these are from Dollar Tree. I am going to remove the juice string, and I'm also going to remove the little bunny tails because I will be reusing them. And I was planning to use the front, but it is so glittery and I wasn't sure how I was gonna cover welcome, and I didn't want to paint it and it be different from the whole sign. I was gonna use the front, so I sanded some of the glitter off, but then I decided to use the back instead. Since there's no bunnies in the back, I'm going to use a piece of white paper and trace one bunny to use it as a template. Now I'm going to paint the back of my sign using my white acrylic paint from the brand Apple Barrel. I am only going to give this one coat like that. Some brown is gonna be peeking through. I am using this paintbrush. It leaves it streaky. That's why I like this paintbrush. I got this in the paint department section. Once all the paint is distributed to the sign, I'm only going to brush it one way, going up and down the whole way through, and I'm not stopping in the middle like that. The lines look all straight and it looks like this. Next, I'm going to distress my sign. I'm using burnt umber again. I know some of you guys are tired of me distressing my stuff, but I love it. I love the farmhouse style. If you want, you can skip this step, but I'm doing the same thing I always do. I am going to distress the ends and then distress the sign. I am not doing no wood planks to this sign. I'm only distressing it, making one big piece of wood, making it look like one piece of old rustic wood. I am going to set that aside and I'm gonna start working on the bunnies. So I'm gonna cut out the bunny I traced out in the beginning of my video. Next, I'm going to take out the moss sheet, and I got these moss sheets from Dollar Tree. I'm going to flip them over and put the template on top of it, and then I'm going to trace it with a permanent marker. I will be doing 4 bunnies, one representing each member, my kids, me, and my fiance. As you can see here, one sheet fits 3 bunnies, so depending on the size of your family is how many sheets you're going to need. I decided to leave 2 bunnies the size of the template, but I wanted to make the bunnies are gonna represent my kids smaller, so I am going to cut this bunny template a little bit smaller. This 3rd bunny is going to represent my daughter. Since the 4th bunny doesn't fit, I'm going to use another moss sheet. but I'm going to cut the bunny template a little bit smaller since my son is younger than my daughter, and that is going to represent my son. And this is how they look. Now I am going to start to cut them out using my scissors. By the way, you can use the regular moss and hot glue to do the bunnies instead of using the moss sheets, but I like these moss sheets because they are less messier than the regular moss. So I was arranging them, and just as I was about to glue them, I noticed that some of the bunnies had some moss missing, so you were able to see the white through. So what I did is I traced the bunnies with a pencil, and then I'm going to go and fill it in, or not everything but a little bit, with some green paint, just like that. When I glue the bunnies, you won't be able to see the white, and you're only gonna see green, or it's gonna blend in with the green. As you can see, they are not perfect, and that's okay, because once I add the moss sheets, you're not gonna be able to see it. To do my soon-to-be last name, I am using juice string and regular glue. I am going to freehand draw it, and I messed up several times, as you can see, so good thing I'm using a pencil. Other options you can use are wood letters, poster letters, or even the transfer method. To glue down the juice string, I will be using regular glue. I tried using my glue gun, but the tip is too big because I have a full size. For this, I needed my mini one. I just don't know where I put it, so I'm going to use the glue, and it worked for me. So I had started by putting the glue directly to the juice string, but then my hands got all messy, so I grabbed a piece of paper and then put some glue there, and I'm going to use a paintbrush instead. Now I'm going to add the bunnies to the sign. I'm going to reuse the tails I took off from the front, and I'm going to make 2 of them smaller for the smaller bunnies, and then I'm gonna leave the other 2 regular. The last thing I'll be adding are 2 small bows I made out of this plaid ribbon. I got this from Walmart, and I added one to the 2 of the bunnies. DIY, I will be recreating this Kirklands barn door that is $219, and mine cost me under $3 to make. I will be recycling a foam board that I got from Dollar Tree. I am also using 3 paint stir sticks. These are from Lowe's. 3 come in a pack for $1. I am also using a dowel, which was $1.77 from Lowe's, but or 78, I'm sorry, but I am only using half of it. I'm going to start off by removing the handle part off of all 3 paint sticks, and then 2 of them I'm going to cut them in half. To my last paint stir stick, I'm going to cut it in half too, but I will be cutting this vertical. I then went ahead and cut the corners sideways, so like that when I make the Z, they're gonna be nice and straight. Using my Waverly chalk paint in white, I'm going to give the paint sticks and dowel one coat of paint. I'm going to set these aside and let them dry, and now I'm going to work on the doors, and I will be using the scarecrow to make the line, and that is where the round shape is going to start. And to make the round shape, I did use my ring light things, these little things, the plastics that come with it. I thought they were perfect to make this half circle. I then went ahead and cut this using my box cutter. When I tried to add the paint sticks, I realized the door was too wide, so I did have to make it smaller. I am using this plastic container to make the round top, and then using this sign to finish it off. I then went ahead and cut it again using my box cutter. I then went ahead and added some lines to it so I can make the wood planks appearance. But as you can see, I had already done them, but they were too thin, so I did have to go back and redo them. I then went over them again using a black permanent marker. The next thing I will be doing is painting the foam board using the Waverly chalk paint in white. As you can see, it is a different kind of white compared to the foam board. Then I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to start distressing it using the Waverly antique wax. This is going to make it look more like wood. I am using the dry painting technique for this. Using a little bit of the Waverly chalk paint and steel, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to dry paint this just here and there to make some spots darker. I know I keep going back inside the bottle, but that bottle is empty. I'm barely grabbing what's left. I then went back in with the white and just painted a little bit where I thought I went overboard with the antique wax and the steel. Once I had liked how it looked, I went over the lines using the black paint. I then went ahead and repeated the same steps using the antique wax, then a little bit of the steel, and I'm going to almost try to make it the same color as the door. To make the little designs that the door has, I will be making them out of a regular computer paper. I did hand draw these myself. Before I cut it out, I will be folding the paper into 4. Like that, I will be getting 4 of the same size. Using my Elmer's glue, I will be gluing 1 on each paint stick. The next thing I will be doing is adding a thumbtacks to the center of the dowel using a hammer. The pictures show it was like a circle with like 5 little dots, and it had some other designs. It actually looked like they were 2 and then they met together in the middle, but I didn't know how to do all that, so I did try my best. And the next thing I will be doing is just gluing the dowel in the center. I then went ahead and added the other paint sticks, but I did it all the way at the bottom. This is my first mistake. I wasn't supposed to, actually not like my first, it's like my third. But anyways, I wasn't supposed to glue them all the way at the bottom. I was supposed to leave like a little space after that, but I didn't do that, so you'll see me trying to fix it later on. I made a Z, and then to the other door I made a backwards Z, so like that they are like back to back. I then realized you can barely see the little designs that the door has, so I did go back with black paint and a small paintbrush and then just outline it. So here is where I tried to fix it. I did use the other piece of foam board that I had left over and then just attached it at the bottom using hot glue. Once I had attached it, I did go over it and made the lines and just paint it just like the rest. And from Dollar Tree, I will be using a wood arrow and some wood letters. To make this ombre, I will be using 4 different shades of blue. I'm going to start with a lighter one first, and so on. I will leave the name of the paints down in the description box. And every time I go in with a new color, I do grab just a little bit so like that it blends in with the other one. I am also using a different paintbrush for each paint.
Didn't have much, but nevertheless, we were true to each other. But now we don't even bother. I remember you being hopeful, but the tall waves have worn us down, and slowly we are drowning. That's why you need to come with me, with me, with me. Turn around 180 degrees and cross the sea. I will not let us fade away. It's not a price I wanna pay, and it's not too late. No, we lost our purpose, chasing all that surplus. You were all that I need. I feel that we can break free. We can still go back.
So when I was looking through my letters, I realized I didn't have an A, so then I was like, oh, I can use a V with the shelf and just glue it upside down and the shelf in the middle like that. You can't even tell if it's an A or not. I added a little bit of the blue that I had left over from the arrow into the shelf. Then I'm going to paint the letters white.
I always knew we could do so many great things. So believe in me.
Once they were dried, I placed the letters on my sign to see where I wanted them to go, and then I glued them using the hot glue.
Hear me out. No, we lost our purpose, chasing all that surplus. You were all that I need. I feel that we can break free. We can still.
For my next DIY, I'm going to repurpose this 8x10 canvas frame I used in one of my previous DIYs. I am going to cut it into 4 pieces, but first I'm going to mark where the half is in all 4 sides. I'm going to use my saw, but if you don't have one, you can always use a knife. Now that I think about it, you can cut it into 3 pieces instead and it will work. So this is how they are going to go. In order for all sides to be even, I have to cut 1/2 inch to 2 of them. Now they are all even. I'm going to sand them a little bit from the edges, and these are already painted, but I am going to repaint them with antique wax. And I'm also adding these 4 wood squares. These are from Dollar Tree as well. Now that they are all nice and dry, I'm going to glue them together. For video purpose only, I'm gluing them with hot glue. I recommend using wood glue if you're going to add a heavy plant or decor. I glue the 2 larger pieces together first and let it dry. Then I'm going to add the other 2 smaller pieces. I flipped it around to add the 4 squares. They are going to be like mini little legs. Since I didn't use wood glue, I added a popsicle stick at the bottom just in case, and that is it. I'm going to use this Dollar Tree Halloween wood decor. I'm going to remove the tags, and then I'm going to remove the little banner. I felt like it was crooked and I wanted it just to center it, so I did remove it. I'm going to start off by painting the pot black. For the leggings, I will be making stripes, so I'm going to start with black first, and then I'm going to fill in the rest with orange. As you can see, I did try to use tape, but that didn't work, so I just didn't use anything, and I just painted it orange, and then I went back with the black and just fixed it a little bit more. Using the same orange, I'm going to paint the banner. I am also painting the buckles of the shoes using white. I will be adding the word witch with these Walmart stickers, and with the paint marker I added "that is in." And I used a paint stick for the stand and added some Jenga blocks to the back. I also added this little cute reefa bow that I already had. And look how cute this little "the witch is in" decor sign turned out. DIY is inspired by my friend Creations by Fabi, Fanny. She did this amazing and beautiful tray like a few months ago, and I just fell in love with it, so I am going to recreate it for this challenge. For this DIY, I will be using 2 of the Dollar Tree 8x10 canvas, and I'm using 9 paint stir sticks, 10 come in a pack, and I got these from Lowe's. Another thing I will be using are these beads. These are 20 cm, and I got these from my friend, actually gave me these. And the first thing I will be doing is just removing the plastic and the staples, and I'm using my knife to remove the staples. I realized I had an old canvas frame, so instead of using a new one, I am going to use this one. The next thing I will be doing is measuring the paint sticks to the size of the frame and then cut them using my hand saw. I know she did hers white, but I decided to do mine brown, so I am using my Waverly Antique Wax to paint the 2 frames, the paint sticks, and the beads. I will be using 30 beads in total, 26 for the tray and 4 for the stands, and I found it easier to put them on a score stick and then paint them like that. And look how beautiful this color looks. I absolutely love this antique wax color. It is my favorite. Now that everything's nice and dry, I'm going to start with the bottom, and I'm going to glue all 9 paint sticks, and this is how it's gonna look. The next thing I will be doing is gluing the beads. Like I said, I'm using 26 for this one. I started with gluing the corners first and then the rest. I am using hot glue to glue mine, but if you want yours to be more sturdy, you can use wood glue. Once I was done gluing all the beads, I then glued the other frame right on top. The last thing I did was glue 1 bead on each corner. Going to use this Dollar Tree summer decor sign. I'm going to use the back, so I did remove the sticker, and I'm going to give this 1 coat of the Waverly Antique, oh my gosh, I keep saying antique wax, the Waverly chalk paint in white. I am going to put this aside and let it dry, and now I'm going to work on the pumpkin. I will be using one of the Dollar Tree wooden pumpkins. I will be using this beautiful sunflower paper. I got this from Hobby Lobby. It is 69 cents, but I got it when they were 4 for $1. I'm going to put it on top of the pumpkin and start pressing it down, so like that it can crease and make the shape. And like that it's going to be easier for me to cut it out. I'm going to repeat the same steps for the inside part and the other side. Before I glue them, I will be painting the pumpkin using the Waverly Antique Wax. Then I will be using my Elmer's glue stick to glue the papers. to blend the paper more with the pumpkin, I will be using the sand sheet and sanding it around. I printed the word fall from the app Pick Collage and the font name is King Basil. I'm going to scribble the back and then put it on the sign so like that I can transfer the word. And this is how it looks. So now I'm going to go over him with my black acrylic paint, and then I'm going to add this bow I did using the Dollar Tree burlap and the Hobby Lobby buffalo check. Then I'm going to glue the pumpkin to the white sign using hot glue. The last thing I did was just add some nautical rope so I can hang it to my wall. And this is how it turned out. I absolutely love how this looks. And that is why I will be using the metal signs that Dollar Tree is carrying right now, as well as these decor long signs and another sign. This is actually from the summer. I ended up changing it to one from Easter because it was a little bit wider. The first thing I will be doing is removing the tags. Using my Waverly chalk paint in white, I will be giving this sign one coat of paint. I will be making some faux wood planks, and I'm using this decor sign and a brown marker. Using a stipple paintbrush and the Waverly Antique Wax, I'm going to distress all the edges and dry paint the rest of the sign to look more rustic and old. I will be using the Harvest metal sign out of this Dollar Tree pack, and I'm tracing it instead of gluing this metal sign. That is because I only grabbed one pack, and like that, if I want to use this Harvest sign in a different DIY, I can. I mix burnt umber and jet black to paint the word Harvest. I'm going to put this to the side and work on the little basket, and for the basket I'm using these two decor signs. These are from Dollar Tree. These were actually sent to me by my beautiful friend Fanny by Creations by Fabi. I will be removing the hooks and adding them to one on each side. Like that, it's easier for me to glue the other one on top. Once they were added together, you can still see some white, and that is because they didn't put the paper right on these signs, and I did love the wood color it had, so I'm going to try to recreate it. And I will be using the Waverly chalk paint in hazelnut to paint the bottom, and then on the sides I did give it a light coat. I let that dry, and then I used the Waverly Antique Wax to dry paint this, and like that it's going to almost give it the exact same look it had before. I didn't want to waste the mixture I made because I did have some left over, so I am adding it to this. I am distressing the edges and dry painting it a little bit. Once everything's nice and dry, I will be putting this together, and I'm only using hot glue since I am not adding anything heavy. The next thing I will be doing is adding these beautiful picks I got from Walmart. They were 97 cents each. Of course, you can add the greenery of your choice. And because I am not gluing these inside the basket, I did have to remove the pumpkins in order for them to stay nice and straight. I made a bow using the Dollar Tree burlap and some Hobby Lobby ribbon, and look how pretty this looks. I am going to glue it. I then drill 2 holes so like that I can add some nautical rope and I can hang my sign. And that is it for this beautiful harvest decor sign. I love it. It matches the rest of my decor and it looks so high-end, and it was so easy and inexpensive to make. Be recreating this Kirklands dark wood diamond arc with black frame, which is $84.99, and mine cost me under $1. I will be using half of this foam board. I know Dollar Tree carries these for $1, or even Walmart, which are 78 cents or around there, but they are cheaper than Dollar Tree. I am going to use this. As you can see, it's all messed up with paint and glue everywhere because this is what I use on top of my table when I film. So instead of throwing it in the trash, I decided to use this for this DIY. So I'm going to use only half of this. So I did measure it to 14 inches and a half and then cut it in half using a box cutter. If you have an X-Acto knife, it's going to be way better. The lines are going to come out way straight and you won't have these like fuzzy things like I did. To make the frame, I'm going to use this ruler to make it as thick as this. I am also only doing it up to where the ruler goes because after that is where I'm going to make the arc. As you can see here, I drew some lines to help me do the arc, and I'm also using this piece of paper, and with this piece of paper I'm going to draw the arc, so like that I can cut it and then just flip it and trace it on the other side. Like that it's going to be nice and straight, or at least even. To make the diamonds in the middle, I will be using this Dollar Tree box. I started by making one first and then making another one inside. I felt like this was the perfect size for this frame. Depending how big you're making your frame is how big you want your diamonds to be. Once I had the first one down, then I started doing the rest, and I just follow along the lines. Once I was finished, I did go over him and just make him a little thicker. All I did was follow along the lines. And this is how it looks once I fixed it. Once I am done doing all my squares, I will be cutting them off using my box cutter. But if you have an X-Acto knife, like I said, it will be so much easier and better. To make the black frame, I will be using the other half of the board, and I use this piece of the Dollar Tree wooden ruler to trace it all around the board. I then went ahead and cut it with the box cutter. I will be painting the frame using the black acrylic paint. To paint the other part of the frame, I will be using the Waverly Antique Wax. Once everything was dry, I glued the black frame to the other frame using hot glue. The size of my frame is 14.5 by 20 inches. It is smaller than the one at Kirklands, but it was still way cheap. And this is how this looks. I absolutely love how this turned out. You can't even tell it is made out of a foam board. Plus, you can add a greenery and it will look so pretty. I will be using some Dollar Tree foam, dowels, and Christmas picks. The ones I will be using are some that I already had but Dollar Tree carries so many different beautiful ones you can use instead. I will be starting with the first 3 dowels. I am going to cut them in half, so they're going to be 6 inches long. With the other 2, I am going to mark every 2 inches, and this is going to give me 12 small pieces of 2 inches long. Now with the last dowel, I'm going to mark every inch, and this is going to give me 12 small pieces of 1 inch. Since I used my saw, it left some small splinters, but I fixed it by sanding it using a Dollar Tree sand sheet. I'm going to put these to the side and work on the center of my snowflake. So I am using this Dollar Tree foam piece. I'm only cutting a small piece. I am making this round, so I am using this bucket just to trace the circle, and then I'm going to cut it using my scissors. Dollar Tree already carries the circle ones, but I only had this one, so I did use what I had.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bells.
I didn't want to leave the foam just like that, so I did make a little back to it using cardboard.
Watch out, the reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light.
I'm going to start putting my snowflake together, so I am starting with one 6-inch dowel. I'm going to add hot glue and then put it inside the foam, and I'm only putting 1 inch inside the foam, leaving 5 inches out. By adding hot glue, this is going to make it more sturdy. I'm going to mark where I want the other 5 dowels to go. This is going to make it easier for me. Now to add the rest of the dowels, I do have to mark where I want them to go, and I'm adding a mark on the 3-inch mark, then the 1-inch mark, and I did that to all 6 dowels. I'm going to add the 2 inches dowels in the 3-inch mark, and I use hot glue for mine, but you can use wood glue. I am also holding it for like 5 seconds until it dries a little. Then I'm going to add the 1-inch dowels to the 1-inch mark. And this is how they're gonna look. Now I'm going to add them to the rest of the 6-inch dowels. As you can see, I added a lot of hot glue to the back. This is going to help it be more sturdy. And this is how it looks. Now you can paint it whatever color you like. I am going to paint mine using the Waverly Antique Wax. I am kind of dry painting this. I do want some of the wood color to show. I did paint the front and the back. When I was taking a video of this, I noticed you can see a lot of the hot glue, and I didn't like that. So to cover that up, I did use juice string. I cut a piece of juice string, then I wrapped it around each little thing. I don't know what these are called, but I did make an X in the front, and then once I did the X, I turned it around and I tied it first. Then I cut it. Now I'm going to use the floral picks. I am going to add garland at the bottom first, just so you can see the foam. I already had these picks at home, but Dollar Tree carries so many different beautiful ones you can use instead. Twist them together so then I can use the same wire to put it through the foam, and like that it's going to be more sturdy. But I did use a little bit of hot glue just in case. I thought this was going to cover a lot of the foam. I did wish I had made the foam smaller, but to fix that I did add 2 more garland ties. I just put them across on top of the other ones. I decided to add this Christmas pick that I picked up from Walmart. I did take this apart. Then I put 1 stem on each side first. I'm going to make a bow using some burlap ribbon and this beautiful red ribbon that I picked up from Walmart. So I am making a double bow. The next thing I will be doing is adding the rest of the stems around where I'm going to put the bow. I haven't glued it just yet because I am going to add 2 pine cones. To finish this off, I'm going to add a couple of berries. And that is it for this beautiful snowflake. This is my favorite DIY I have done so far. It is beautiful. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comment section. I use one of the Dollar Tree Easter signs. I remove the tag, bow, and feet, and then I use a box cutter to cut it in half. Each door is about 12 inches long. To make the Z pattern, I will be using these jumbo popsicle sticks. I got these from Lowe's and 30 come in a pack for just $1. Walmart also carries jumbo popsicle sticks. So does Dollar Tree, but the Dollar Tree ones are smaller than these, but they can still be used for this. I will be using 8 in total, but 4 of them I'm going to cut them to the size of the width of the door, and then I will be using 2 on each door. Then I'm going to use 2 popsicle sticks on each door to finish the Z, and I am going to cut those as well. Hopefully I make sense, but if I didn't, the video does show you what I did. Sorry. I chose to do the Z pattern, but there are so many different patterns you can make out of these popsicle sticks. When I first started to paint my door, I had imagined a different color, so I started by painting it with this hazelnut chalk paint from the brand Waverly Chalk Paint. But it is useless, so if you want, you can skip this step. You will see why later. I then went over it with white acrylic paint. I then distressed it with burnt umber. I am going for the old rustic look. Before I add more white, I'm going to add some wood planks. Each door is about 6 inches wide, so I did 3. I used my brown marker, but it was way too light, so I decided to go over it with a burnt umber. Before I add the white, like I said, I added the lines, and then I'm going to distress it a little more using the brown. So like that, if I mess up and I add way too much brown, when I add the white, it's going to fix that. Here I'm adding the white. This is a process, so I'm going to distress it again, and I'm going to do this several times till I like how it looks. I am going to paint the popsicle sticks the same way. Once everything's all nice and dry, I'm going to arrange them before I start to glue them. And then I'm going to glue the Z going the opposite sides. For the door handles, I'm using 2 of these car air fresheners I got from Dollar Tree. 4 come in a pack, but I'm only using 2. I took them apart just so when I paint them, everything paints good. I painted them black. Since I have the paint out, I'm going to paint the rail I will be using, and I'm going to use the plunger stick. I got this from Dollar Tree. Now that they are dry, I'm going to put the air fresheners back together, and then I'm going to glue them to my door using my hot glue gun. To hang the doors to my rails, I'm using a shoelace. You can pretty much use anything, ribbon, shoestring, or any kind of string. But anyway, I am going to cut 4 pieces, the same size, just long enough to go around the stick. To glue the pieces of the shoelace, I'm using only my hot glue. They aren't heavy, so that's why I'm only using the hot glue. And I'm going to glue one end on each side. To hang the rails with the doors, you can use hooks Dollar Tree has. I'm showing you these. These are big enough to where the stick's going to fit. I won't be using them now because I don't know where I want them to go yet. So once I know where I want them to go in my apartment, I will be using them. Well, actually, I'm gonna paint them first black, and then I will be putting them where I want them to go. So for now, I made 2 circles out of the shoelace to hang them to the thumbtacks on my wall, on my work area wall. I just love these little string hooks I made because you can slide the door. So if you want them to be open and add a decor in the middle, you can. If not, they can stay closed. Once the doors were on the stick, I added the little circles, one on each side, so like that I can be able to hang it. To make this beautiful candy cane Christmas tree, I will be using one of the Dollar Tree white Christmas trees. I'm going to start off by spreading all the branches, and I'm not using the little stands that comes with it. For my box stand, I will be using this container. I got this from Dollar Tree. 2 came in a pack, and some floral foam. I'm going to cut a little square off from this one that I have been using. I will be gluing the foam inside. Then I am going to add a lot of hot glue to the top part. So like that, when I push the Christmas tree inside the foam, it's actually going to make it a lot more sturdy and hold more. To make my tree fuller, I will be using this white tinsel garland that I got from Dollar Tree. It has these little cute red trucks. I am going to cut them off though. Another thing you can use to make this tree fuller is use 2 trees and put them together. I actually have a video on how to do that, so I'll have that link down in the description box in case you want to check that out. Now I'm going to wrap the garland around the Christmas tree. I didn't use the whole thing. And this is how it looks once I had added some of the garland. Now for the rest of the garland, I am going to use it to cover the bottom. Now to decorate my Christmas tree, I will be using several different things. I'm starting with these red and white Christmas ornaments that I got from Dollar Tree. Unfortunately, I only found 1 pack, so I'm only using 1. And all I did to the ornament was just spread them evenly. I tried not to put them too close together. And the next thing I will be using is just these other red ornaments. These I already had, but Dollar Tree carries little ornaments you can use. To make my own ornaments, I will be using some red fuzzy sticks and some white ones. I got these from Walmart. They were 97 cents each, or the pack was 97 cents each. I'm going to grab a white one and a red one and twist them together. Then I'm going to twist that to my finger and make this little swirly thing. And I did several of these, then I added them to my Christmas tree. I had these extra little red stockings and I got these from a Dollar Tree pack. I'm going to glue them just here and there, and I did only try to glue them on the garland. Later on, I did add some Dollar Tree berries. For the tree topper, I will be using this Walmart ornament that cost me $1.47. It has a little clip, so all I'm doing is clipping it to the top of the tree. And look how cute this turned out. Now to finish this off, I will be making a bow using these 3 ribbons. 2 of them, or actually one of them is from, this one is from Dollar Tree. The polka dot one is from Dollar General. And the red one is from Walmart. I'm going to get all 3 of the ribbons and just make a bow and tie it in the center. Now the bow, you can't use it as a tree topper if you don't have this little clip, but I'm adding it to the box stand instead. And that is it for this red and white Christmas tree. I absolutely love how this turned out. This reminds me of a candy cane, so I don't know why. It just, I guess because of the colors. For this DIY, I'm going to use 4 Dollar Tree dowels. These come 12 in a pack. And I'm going to use this garden windmill I got from Dollar Tree. And this piece of wood, this one I already had. If you don't have a piece of wood like I already do, you can always use the ones Dollar Tree carries. I will be working on the windmill first, so I'm going to remove the front piece so then I can pull it back, and it's so much easier to remove the back piece like this. The next thing I will be doing is I'm going to galvanize this or re-galvanize it, because this is already galvanized but with a touch of blue. And I will be using the Waverly chalk paint and elephant, steel, and silver lining. I'm going to start off with a silver lining first, and I'm using the stipple paintbrush. I'm just going to tap 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 all around the windmill, and then I'm going to let it dry and then go over it with the elephant. And don't forget the small little front piece. Once that was dry, I went over it with the color steel, and I did repeat the same steps until I like how it looked. I am also painting a little bit of the blades on the back and on one side only. That is because I am not leaving this windmill flat like this. I am going to bend the blades. The gray or whatever color this thing was won't show, and it will show like the front. And that is it for the windmill. Now I'm going to work on the stand and the tower part. So I am going to cut the third windmill. I am going to cut the third dowel and make different little pieces to make this. I don't know what this is called, but yeah. And you can make a Z only, so you can only use 3 dowels, but since I wanted to make the X, I used a little bit of the 4th dowel. I will be painting all the parts with the Waverly Antique Wax, and as you can see, this piece of wood already had 2 holes, one on each side. If you are using the piece of wood the Dollar Tree carries, you can always drill some holes like that. When you add the dowels, the tower will be more sturdy. I decided to paint the round part of the windmill with the antique wax just to match the rest of the tower and the stand. I also made like a circle in the little piece, this little piece, so like that it matches. The next thing I will be doing is I'm going to bend the blades a little bit like this, and it's going to make it look so much better. Now that everything's nice and dry, I'm going to put everything together, and I'm going to start off with the stand and adding the 2 dowels in the holes, and I'm using some hot glue. You can use some wood glue to make this way sturdier, but I'm using hot glue, and I'm adding some more hot glue to the bottom of the holes just to fill them in. Then I'm going to add some hot glue at the top, and I'm going to hold both of the dowels together until it dries. Once it's dry, I'm going to add a lot of hot glue and then put the windmill on top. As you can see, the windmill has this little piece in the back, so I'm going to put it like on top of the sticks, and then I'm going to add a lot of hot glue around it just so it can be nice and secure. But I was afraid it was going to fall eventually, so I decided to add some jute string around it just to tie it around everything together, and you won't be able to see the jute string when I add the front piece to it. And voila, you can hardly tell there is jute string in the back. The next thing I did was glue the middle piece of the tower, and I didn't angle my camera right, but all I did was add 2 pieces going across. Last minute changes. What I did, instead of using the dowel, I'm going to use this Dollar Tree skewer stick and make the X instead. Once it's glued down, I'm going to paint it using the antique wax. The only reason I switched them was because I accidentally cut the other ones wrong and I didn't want to waste any more dowels, so that's why. And that is it for this beautiful windmill. For my Hello Winter sign, I use this decor circle sign. I got this a while back from Dollar Tree. I know Dollar Tree isn't carrying any round decor signs, but Dollar Tree carries so many different things you can use instead, like the stove covers, the charger plates, even the cake pans or the pizza pan. I'm going to start off by removing the tag, and I'm going to paint the back of this sign using my white chalk paint. The next thing I did was draw 2 lines almost at the bottom. That is where I'm going to write winter, but first I'm going to paint it using the Waverly Antique Wax. I did add way too much of the antique wax, so I decided to wipe some of it off using a napkin. And I actually like how this left it. I know it looks kind of streaky, but that's what gave it the wood looking color. And I just loved it. I kept doing it until I like how it looked. And this is how it looks once it's nice and dry. I'm going to transfer the word winter, and I used the app Pick Collage, and the font name is King Basil. To transfer the words, I'm going to flip the paper around and scribble the back using this chalk. So when I was about to start tracing it, I couldn't see where the center was at, so that's why I decided to cut this. Then I went ahead and used a pencil to start going over the letters. Once I finished, it looked like this. I know there is a lot of chalk, but don't worry about that now. Don't try to remove it now because you will erase the letters. So now I'm gonna use a small paintbrush and some chalk paint and go over the word. And this is how it looks once I finished going over it. I did go over it twice so it was nice and white. Once it was dry, I used a napkin to wipe down the rest of the chalk. For the word hello, I will be using this wood word that I got from Dollar Tree. You can use some poster letters or even the wood letters that Dollar Tree carries instead. I'm going to remove the tag and paint this using the Waverly chalk paint. The Waverly antique wax. Once again, I'm going to just wipe this a little bit just so it can be light. I'm going to glue this above the winter. For the greenery, I will be using this one. This from Walmart, and I got this last year. I have been trying to look for these at Walmart and I still haven't found these. Hopefully they do bring these in because I love these. These are so cute and are perfect for winter. I'm going to remove 4 stems to use 2 on each side. The next thing I will be doing is just making a bow using this burlap, and this burlap is from Dollar General. I haven't been able to find these at Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree does carry regular burlap. Right now they are carrying the one with the lace. To tie my bow, I'm using a piece of jewelry, and I made it long enough to where I can add some beads and I can tie this to my sign. The beads I'm using are from Walmart. I will be using only 4. I'm going to just thread them in there on one side, and the other side of the jewelry I'm going to use it to tie it to the sign. Now the last thing I did was add these snowflakes that I already had, and I'm going to add them 1 on each side. And that is it for this beautiful Hello Winter. I absolutely love this. It looks so high-end and it was easy and inexpensive to make. From Dollar Tree, I will be using 2 of these decor signs and 2 spider plant picks. I will be using some popsicle sticks. These are the jumbo ones from the brand Craft Square. You can use those, but I will be using the ones I got from Lowe's. These are way bigger than the ones from Dollar Tree, and they were $1 as well. I am showing you 2 options you can use. The first thing I will be doing is removing the back of this decor sign. It's not that hard to remove. You just have to keep pushing and pushing until it comes off. like I said, I'm using these sticks instead of the ones from Dollar Tree. So I'm using 24 in total. 30 come in a pack for just $1 at Lowe's. And if you were to use the ones from Dollar Tree, I think you need 30 because they are smaller. But yeah, it can still work, just it's gonna be a little bit shorter. I wanted to use this one because it makes the planter taller. To make sure my planter is nice and straight, I will be using this L-shaped ruler thing I got from Dollar Tree. I will be gluing 5 sticks on each side. To make the excess on the sides, I will be using one paint stick and I'm going to cut it in half using a box cutter. I will be doing that to each side, so I'm going to use I made the sides straight. Now I'm just using my hot glue to glue these. So I decided to add some stands, and this was a last minute thing. I am going to use some of these Dollar Tree little squares. I'm using 12 in total, 3 on each side. And I'm going to make like a V shape on each corner. Once I am done doing that, I'm going to paint it using the Waverly Antique Wax. I did. And that is it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.